Welcome to Nox Spellenzolder. This time I want to take a look at Mandrago, published by Red-Eyed Rabbit. It's a game for 2 to 4 players and it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to play. And in this game we're all in a magical forest trying to find a medicine to cure our sick princess. In order to cure our beloved princess we need to accumulate a total of 15 victory points, or alternatively we can win the game by collecting all 6 colors of Mandrago, and the first player to achieve that will be the winner. The version I'm gonna show you is a print and play version. The real version will be printed on thick cardboard tiles, and the rules will look a bit better than the ones I've just printed out myself. But this is a print and play version, just to give you an idea of what this game is about. So let's dive in and have a look. First of all, we'll get the rules in multiple languages, one of which being the English language. I've got the Dutch rules here. They're easy to read through, they're clear. It's not a very complicated game within an explanation of all the different tiles we can encounter during the game and some optional rules you can apply. We'll get 40 hexagon tiles on which we see the rare Mandrago we need to collect in order to win the game, and different characters with different abilities which we'll come to in a second. And finally we get a couple of markers, some combat markers for both the dragon and the knight, and we get some magical eye chits to indicate which tiles we're going to have a look at. That's what we're going to get. Let's set up a game. In order to set up the game, you'll shuffle the 40 tiles and place them in a 5x8 grid. Alternatively, you can just shuffle the whole and place them any way you like, but that's more difficult because there's a memory element in this game, and having a grid does help remembering where certain tiles are. We have the magical eye tokens and the combat tokens laid to the side so everybody can reach, and after you've done that you can appoint the youngest player as this starting player and you're ready to start. To win the game you need to have 15 points at the beginning of your turn, after people used either the dragon or the knight to alter the amount of points, or if you've collected all the 6 different colors of Mandrago, you also immediately win the game. So let's have a look at how this game is played. Starting with the first player, every player takes a turn, and in their turn they'll do 4 things. The first thing is you'll count up the amount of points you have and announce that to all the players. And if you have 15 points, the other players get a chance to use either their dragon or their knight to change your amount of points. If no one can do that, you win the game. The second step is you blindly choose one of the closed tiles to keep. Let's for instance say I want this tile. I'll then open that tile and I show to everybody what I have. In this example I have drawn a Mandrago tile, and on that tile you'll see 3 numbers, 1, 2, 3. Normally a Mandrago tile is worth 2 points, so I'll make sure that the 2 points upwards. Certain creatures will be able to affect it, either making it worth less or making it worth more. And as soon as that happens I alter the position to indicate the amount of points this Mandrago tile is worth. But for starters it's worth just 2 points, so I'll place it in front of me for everybody to see like this. The third thing I will do in my turn is I can have a look at 3 tiles. I'll use the magical eye tokens to indicate which tiles I want to look at. For instance, I'm going to make it easy. I'm just going to have a look at these 3 tiles, and I'm going to look at them one by one, and I have to show one of these tiles to all the other players. So we have the satyr, we have a green Mandrago, and we have the wizard. I'll come back to the special characters in a sec. So I have got these 3 characters. I have to show one of them to my opponents, so I'm going to give them some knowledge about, I'm going to let them know where the wizard is. So I'm going to show the wizard to all the players. For the remainder of my turn, as long as the magical eye tokens are on these tiles, I may have a look at them as often as I desire. After I've shown one tile to all the other players, I may, and this is not obligatory, open one of the other two tiles, so not the one I've just shown. There are certain reasons you want to do that, because we have nymphs and we have goblins in this great forest. Just for your information, the backs of all my tiles are white, but there will be trees printed upon them, so this will look like a big forest. But again, I've got a print and play and I didn't get the double-sided printing well, so I just stuck with white backs. But it will look like one big forest. Within the forest there are nymphs and there are goblins. If you open a goblin, and it is open in the forest, all the Mandragon of the same color, let me find a goblin. If I open this goblin, all the green Mandragon tiles will be worth 1 point less. On the other hand, if I manage to open a nymph, all the Mandragon in the color of the nymph will be worth 1 additional point. So opening up certain tiles might be beneficial for you. And when a tile is opened in the forest, you can't just remove it. You'll need either the dragon or the knight to get them out of the forest, but another player cannot pick them up and put them in front of themselves. So sometimes it can be strategic to just open a tile. I don't want to open any of the tiles because I have a satyr and I have the green Mandragon, and it's not useful to open these tiles. I'm just gonna say that's it. I'm gonna remove the magical eye tokens, and then I'm gonna recount the number of points I have. For example, I have 2 points now. Announce that to all the players, and then clockwise the next player will take his or her turn, starting by announcing the amount of points they have, choosing one of the tiles available. They can, for instance, say, I just saw you show us a wizard. I do like to have that wizard. They can just pick up the wizard, or they can just pick any other tile they desire. Then again, they may place 3 magical eye tokens on 3 of the tiles, have a look at them, show one of them to all the other players, and choose to open one of the other 2. And the fourth and final phase of a player's turn is adding up all the points you have and announcing that to the other players, so each player knows how far along you are and whether they need to take some steps in order to secure victory for themselves or prevent you from achieving it. Then play will continue to the next player in clockwise order. Okay, let's have a look at the special characters we have in this game. I'm going to use the rules to reference them. As I said before, you have the nymphs and we have the goblins. If you open them in the forest, they give a +1 or a -1 to the color their border depicts. If you take them into your own collection, they have no power over the Mandragon in play, but you can make them worth points using the satyr. We'll get back to that in a second. The wizard. If it's open in the forest, the other wizard in a personal collection is worth 2 points. And if you have a wizard in your personal collection, you may have a look at 1 additional tile each turn. So normally you can only watch 3 tiles. With the wizard you can have a look at 4 tiles. The knight. If you get a knight, you place a combat token on that knight, and you may use that combat token in 2 ways. Either to remove a knight creature from the forest or from a collection. All the creatures have either a moon depicted on them or a sun, the moon being the night creatures, the sun being the day creatures. You can use a knight's combat token to remove a knight creature, maybe one of those goblins who's hammering your score. Alternatively, you can use the knight token to protect a day creature against the attack from a dragon. And again, if there's a knight open in the forest, all the knights in front of players will be worth 2 points. The dragon does the same, but reversed, so you can use a dragon's attack token to destroy an open day creature from the forest or from a personal collection, or you can protect a night creature against the night. The witch, if she's open in the forest, all the other witches open in front of the players in their collection are worth 2 points. And the witch allows you to immediately win the game as soon as you have 15 points. You don't have to wait until the next start of your turn, but as soon as you have 15 points, you win the game if no one uses either a dragon or a knight to alter your score. So that's a nice one. The satyr, I'm not sure what the English word for that is. It's the Greek mythical creature with the goat legs, playing his flute and chasing the women. If there's one open in the forest, again the ones in the collection are worth 2 points. And if you have one in your collection, every character you have will be worth 1 point. So the satyr itself will be 1 point, and if you have a wizard and a dragon, they're also 1 point each. So that's a nice one. Another positive thing about it, it's neither a day nor a night creature, so it can't be attacked by either the knight or the dragon. So those are the different kinds of characters you can encounter in the game. So play continues until a player has 15 points at the start of his or her turn, or a full set of all the 6 different colored Mandrago tiles, and they immediately win the game if they have that. But that's how Mandrago is played. Mandrago is a fairly easy game to play, but it has some nice mechanics that makes it strategically interesting to play. You have the knowledge you can obtain by using the magical eyes. You have a look at 3 of the tiles. You have to show one of them to your opponents, and that's a decision you have to be careful with, because that can always backfire, and you may open one of the tiles in order to either increase your own score if it's a nymph, or either decrease the score of your fellow players by opening a goblin. Alternatively, you can open certain characters. You know for sure that that character will not fall into the hands of other players, and if you have the other copy, it will be worth 2 points in your collection. So there are a lot of different ways to accumulate points. Some tough decisions you have to make every time you have a look at those 3 tiles. I like the artwork on the different tiles and the markers. It looks very mythical, like a fairy tale forest, and it brings out the theme nicely. The only downside I have, if you have color blindness, you will have trouble distinguishing certain Mandrago cards. Maybe there will be some small symbols on the final version. In my print and play version, they don't have those distinguished markings. The game itself has a nice interactive feel to it. All the players are scouring through the forest trying to find the Mandrago or characters in order to accumulate the necessary amount of points to win the game, and at the same time trying to backstab the fellow players. So that's a nice touch. The game itself plays rather fast and fluently, and the better people are in remembering positions, the easier it will be for them to get towards victory. On the other hand, there are 40 tiles. You always get to see only a small portion of it, so there is a certain amount of luck involved, but in my opinion that's not hampering the gameplay. All in all, Mandrago is just a fun game to play. There are some strategic choices you can make by opening certain cards, sharing certain knowledge, and trying to keep certain tiles closed for your next round in order to score additional points. Going for the Mandrago might be a good strategy, but at the same time, if you collect enough characters, add a satyr and a couple of Mandrago, you can also fairly easily gain the amount of points needed to win the game before somebody can take the victory away from you. So different ways lead to victory, which makes the game challenging from different angles. So if you're interested, the game will be on Kickstarter in August, and I'll make sure to put a link below this video so you can just check it out yourself. Thanks for watching. and have fun playing.
Nox Spellenzolder.